In this session, we will continue with chapter number 6. So, in this chapter, we will continue with PHP 5 basic language. Before starting this virtual session, I will review all the topics covered in face-to-face class. So, what is PHP? PHP stands for what? PHP stands for PHP Hypertext Preprocessors, and it is a server scripting language for making dynamic and interactive web pages. So in face-to-face class, we get our first example. We got our first example of PHP, and in this example, we embed PHP code into an HTML code, and we said that the extension of this file must be .what. So this file, when I will save this file, the extension is what? Are you here? Do you hear me? So here the extension is .php. Yes, and we say that when we want to put a PHP code, we use this is the begin of my PHP code, and this is the end. And when the server executes a PHP code, the result will be an HTTP. Abdulaziz, you have a question? Abdulaziz Shekhar. Okay. So when the server execute this PHP, all the HTML code will be like, so this HTML code will be the same in the result. So in the result, all the HTML code will be the same. Here, the same HTML code. Yes. Good. After that, all the PHP code here, and the result will be the execution of this PHP code. For example, here the execution will be hello world. We will print hello world. Also, in face-to-face class, we said that in PHP there are 3 manners to create a comment. This is the first manner. This is the second one, and this is the third one. So there are 3 manners to create a comment in a PHP code. We discuss together how we can create a variable in a PHP code. So to create a variable, we use the dollar symbol. After that, after dollar, we write the name of this variable. For example, $X or $Y, etc. So $123 and $ABC are or represent examples of illegal variable. So we cannot create a variable in PHP that begin with a symbol or number like 1 or star. We say how we can manage different variables in PHP. We discussed together isSet function, also unset function, and empty function. So isSet, unset, and empty are three predefined functions provided by PHP to manage variables. Also, we learned together that PHP provides some superglobals, and these superglobals are arrays like $_get, $_post, $_cookie, $_env, and $_server. So 5 superglobals are provided by PHP, and for example, for $_get, it represents an array that includes all the get variables that PHP received from the client browser. We see some examples together, and now we will continue with this chapter with the basic data types. So in PHP we can code 5 basic data types like integer, floating point, strings, booleans, and null. 5 integer basic data types. Let's see together arrays. So this is an important part in this chapter. Your attention, please. So to create an array in PHP, we can write or we can use the keyword array. So we write, for example, $tab equal, after that array, and here we use 1, 5, 6. So here tab is an array in PHP, and tab contains how many items? How many items in tab? Three, very good. And what is the index of 5? The index of 5? 1, very good. So here the index is 1, here the index is 0, here the index is 2. This is the index. So in PHP we can write or we can create an array by 2 manners, like this or like this. So if I write array, 0 implies 1, so 0 here represents the index. And 1 represents the value. It is clear? So if I write array 1, 2, 3 is the same as the more explicit array, 0 implies 1, 1 implies 2, 2 implies 3. Also in PHP I can use a string index. This is an index as a string index. So in our example here, we have how many data? In this example, how many elements in my array? Not 3, only 2. Yes, 2 elements. This is the first one, and this is the second. So let's suppose that this array is tab. I write tab equal. So if I want to get the value of John, for example, I will write $tab name. It is clear? Okay. The third example, so array 1, 1, 2, 3 is equivalent to array 1 implies 1, 2 implies 2, and 3 implies 3. That means here, if I don't specify the index here, the index will be automatically 1 plus 1. 1 plus 1 equal 2. After that, array without any arguments is an empty array. So here is an example of nested array statement. So this is an array of arrays. So the first element here is an array. This is the first element. The second one is also an array. This is the second element. And this is an example of nested array. It is clear? Any questions about this part? Okay. So when I write array equal array 1, 2, 3, this instruction create an array. Also, I can create an array with another manner. So with this manner. So in our example, array 1 and array 2 are similar. There is not, so we will obtain the same result. So here we use print $r. So print R displays information about a variable in a way that is readable by humans. I repeat, print R is a predefined function, and this function displays information about a variable. In our case, the variable is array 1. But when this function displays this variable, it displays it in a way that is readable by humans. For example, here, the result of the first instruction will be like this, array like this. After that, like this, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. So this is the result of print R array 1. It is clear? Okay, so this creation of an array and this one are same. We can also compare between two arrays, so I can write if array 1 equal array 2. So reading array values, I can write print array 2 name. So this instruction, that means I want to print the value of array 2 and the index name. So this information will be displayed. Okay? I can write if array 2 age is less than 35, print is quite young. Any questions about this slide? So on this slide we will see how we can make access to nested arrays. So in my example, I have an array. The name of this array is ARR. And in this array, I have two nested arrays. So for example, I want to get this value, John. So to get this value, I write the same name, and after that the index here and the second index here. So array 1 name give me the value John. It is clear? Okay. How can I traverse an array? So there is a special loop provided by PHP. This loop is for each. So this slide clarify how can I use for each loop to traverse the array. So in my array here, the name my array in this example is players, $players. And my array contains 4 elements. 4 elements. So here I will write print the players are. So this sentence will be displayed in the first position. After that, for each $players as key implies value, print $key equal $value. So if I want to use for each, I write for each. After that, the name of the array, $players. After that, the keyword as. After that, as what? In my example here, I use 2 variables, key and value. So key implies value. After that, I write print key equal dollar value. So the result of this loop give us 0 John, 1 Barbara, 2 Bill, 3 Nancy. It is clear? Any questions about the loop for each? So in this example, if I write and with another manner, for example, I will use another color, black. So for each dollar players as $X, print $X. So the result will be what? I write for each dollar players as $X, print $X. The result will be what? So the result in this case will be John, Barbara, Bill, and Nancy. 4 elements. It is clear? Another manner, I can use another loop. I can use the loop while, and in while I will use 2 functions. The first one is list, the second function is each. So list, for example, if I write $X equal 5, $Y equal 7, so list of $X, $Y give me 5, 7 together as a list, like this. It is clear? List, the function list for you. So list assigns a list of variables in one operation. After that, each players, this function give me in the first iteration, for example, in the first iteration, this function give me 0 John. So I make list key val give each players. That means in the first iteration the key will be 0 and the val will be John. And I will write print $key equal $value. In the first iteration I will obtain 0 John. There is another function here in this code, the function reset. So the function reset sets the internal pointer of an array in a first element. So if I have here an array, so the pointer will be in the first elements if I use reset. Any questions about this slide? So in this slide we use 3 predefined functions in PHP. The first one is the reset, the second one is list, the third one is each. So reset set the internal pointer of an array to its first element. List assign variables or assign a list of variables in one operation, and h return the current key and value pair from an array. So in the first iteration, h returns 0 and John. Any questions about this slide? We can define constants in PHP 5. So here we write define constant name value case sensitivity. For example here, so case sensitivity, the third element here is optional. Optional, and the default is true. So define my OK equals 0. That means here my OK is a constant and the value equals 0. Case sensitivity equal true. That means I cannot use this constant name with a lower case. For example, here I cannot write my OK like this. So in PHP we can find many operators. We can find numerical operators, assignment operators, comparison operators, logical operators, bitwise operators, negation, increment, decrement, etc. So many operators. We can also find control structures, the famous if, else, if, the switch expression, the loop control. Here, for example, we can use a break. So break give the end of the current loop, and the break expression. So expression here is an optional numeric number and give us an information about how many nested enclosing structures are to be broken. So the default value of expression equal 1. So for continue, that means we will skip the rest of the current loop iteration and continue execution in the beginning loop. The same here, continue expression, that means how many nested enclosing structures here we will skip. Any questions? Okay, so we can use also the loop for example here I equals 0, I less than 10, I plus plus, print the square of I. Here dot, that means concatenation. Yes, in Java is plus in Java. And the result will be like this. The square of 0 is 0, the square of 1 is 1, etc. The square of 9 is 81. We can include a file. So for example, I have here a PHP file, and I have here another PHP file. So I can include this file, the second file in the first file. I will just use include with the file name. Let's move now to functions. The question is, how can I create a function in a PHP language? So to create a function in a PHP language, we use the keyword function, after that the name of the function, after that the arguments of this function. So in my example, I have a function square with only one argument, and this function returns the square of this argument. This is another example with no arguments, 0 arguments. So I can make a function without arguments. So for example, this function assign to my variable the value 2. So if I write var equal 1 after that func, that means I call this function. After that, print variable. In this example, I will obtain what? 1 or 2? So in this example, I will obtain 1 because variable is a local function like JavaScript, local. So here I will obtain 1, but if I use the keyword globals, in this case I will obtain 2 globals variable. So here, for example, if I write return $globals of name, and here the value equal get global variable new, so new equal this 10, sorry, so the result will be 10. Here I use globals. Let's move now to how we can declaring function parameters by value parameters or by reference parameters. So here reference, that means I will use this, the and $n. So and here the symbol and, that means by reference. So in this case, when I prepare a function and $n, and after that n equal n multiplied by n, if my number equal 4 and I write square $number, print $number, so I will obtain 16 as a result. But without the symbol and, I will obtain the same value, only 4. Any questions? Okay, so also in PHP 5 is an oriented object language, so I can create a class in PHP 5, and in this class I can also add some functions. For example, here my class is person. This is my class. I have one attribute name and a function set name is another function set class. Here in PHP, when I define a class, I use the predefined keyword class, and in the end of the class I have to write semicolon. After that, I can create a new person. So here I create an object Judy, and after that I can use the function setName by this way. So setName can be used here. Also I can use getName. So getName is used here, etc. To create final classes are similar to final methods. We can also define a class as final. So I just write final class, my base class. So my class has been declared as final. My concrete class may not extend it, and therefore execution of this script fails. So final classes, that means we cannot extend. This is an error. Any questions?